Lucky you.
You didn't even get your 5 seconds of fame there, mate.
Caught in the middle like always.
Drifters and mugs. Mugs and drifters. Welcome all. How we going? Visitors first.
Yeah.
Guests first.
Visitors first. Well, I've come from further, so I'm more of a visitor. Boys, great to be back.
Yeah.
Great to have another great chat of the Futures Insight, which don't want to really name names, but last time we were here, someone spoke out the Melbourne Cup winner. We're not talking Commander Harry, mate. We're talking Very Elegant in the Melbourne Cup, which was quite a fond memory I've got going down memory lane.
Yeah, I think you backed it when you were here, actually, because you're like, I better put that bet on now.
Talk myself into it.
Mate, did you? What price did you get her at?
I had it at 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was one of those things because obviously the big eye was the flavour of the month, and we're still a bit dirty that he didn't win. But I was on earlies for her, and then Incentivised just kept growing and growing. Star of the Spring. And sort of half forgot that I was on Very Elegant too when she's breezed away down the straight, and I'm thinking, hang on, red colours, blue sash, J-Mac on board. This is looking pretty good.
Who needs the big eye?
My thinking Incentivised is fading to all of a sudden, hang on, I'm back up and about. Get behind me, lads. So
Yeah, that was a huge pick, carrying 57 kegs in the Melbourne Cup.
I was on a
Unbelievable.
camel in the race, apparently. So
Goes around on Saturday too. 2 humps,
Yeah, Spanish Mission. There
Yeah.
you go. 2,000 metre specialist apparently now.
supposedly.
what kind of specialist was it before? It was a 2,000 metre specialist.
A pretender specialist.
Sahara Desert, according to Lloydie.
Yeah, exactly right.
alrighty, so we have a few to go through. We've been trying to tee this up for a few weeks, but there's been a few things out of favour here. Lloydie's been sick, and before that, all of our houses were flooded, so we couldn't get in the same room. But we're going to cover off the rest of the quality group ones for throughout March. So we have the Newmarket Handicap, Australia Cup, Coolmore Classic that we're going through this week for this weekend's racing. The Galaxy, which is pretty wide open, I'd imagine. Then Rosehill Guineas, which is fascinating now that Profondo ran as poorly as he did. The Slipper, which is an absolute dartboard job. And, of course, the All-Star Mile. We got to finish on the All-Star Mile because it's
Finish
so
with a bang.
interesting. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's kick it off with the feature of the weekend, the Newmarket Handicap, lads.
Well, before we get to that feature, cameras are rolling, right?
Yeah.
We've got a gift for you boys.
Oh, gee whiz.
Don't smash it because there's something inside there as well.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right.
Let's have a look-see.
more or less because my wife keeps telling me to clear the 15 boxes of merchandise under the house. So,
Look at that.
and it is the middle of summer, but surely there's a week in the year in Queensland that a beanie's required. So,
God, yeah.
Stradbroke Day?
Yeah.
with the suit jacket,
Yeah.
accessories
Absolutely.
on.
Huge amounts of swag. Clearly you didn't get me an extra large on for my extra large noggin. But hey, nearly there.
Well, I'm gonna-
Mate,
Thanks, boys.
you're one of a kind. That's why.
our gift is significantly smaller,
Oh.
but we've got some stickers put up.
boys.
So, and we got one for Bean as well. Apparently, Bean.
who?
Don't know if you it
How is Bean?
might cheer him up a bit. Look, and everyone listening will be able to relate to this. We love the Bean. He's a part of the furniture, obviously. He's just very much a confidence player. So put it this way, if he's picked a few winners, I come back to my phone and there's 54 unread messages. If he doesn't come close, I don't know whether he's turned his phone off, thrown it against the wall, cut out a reception, can't afford to pay his phone bill. We don't hear from him until we've got to jump him up to get ready for our weekly podcast as well.
Basically
So,
becomes like an animal rights activist and is
Pretty much.
completely against horse racing.
Pretty
Doesn't
much.
agree with
Pretty
it.
much. Yeah.
we are worried some Melbourne Cups that he's going to go on that side because he hates it that much. So, yeah.
He's had a bad derby day. That's
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah,
so
gee.
did I.
Oh, man,
Don't bring it up.
We've all been there. Gee whiz.
That's why we look forward on these shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
exactly right.
let's give it a go, eh? So, the Newmarket. Look, there's two clear favourites here in Home Affairs and Lost and Running. They have the best form of the race. Masked Crusader might be a bit overs at $13, and there is quite a big tail to the race. And then you have, what do you do with Artorias at $10?
Oh, mate, the party bus. Is he finally going to arrive at the station?
Well,
this weekend.
He's been blind for a year. So if he sobers up, he could be a chance here. What do you boys think?
Yeah, well, I think you can sober up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
mate, the ratings are gone now.
That's how bad this is. See, just get out of the way early.
No.
Well, look, I go back to his run in the Coolmore Stud Classic behind Home Affairs. They carried level weights that day on Derby Day. Artorias goes down to the 51, whereas Home Affairs has to lug one of the top weights. And barrier 2, I prefer wider alleys down the Flemington Straight, especially in these big races when it'll have had a bit of racing. They were there obviously on Saturday and back there again this weekend for Super Saturday. But look, that his finish with no weight on his back, I just think over the top of a Newmarket field, it can be, the right sort of race shape for Artorias.
Yep, ran really well in the Coolmore. Like you said, running into third, maybe he's a straight horse. If he jumps well, anything could happen. If he jumps well.
That's it.
He could just flop out.
Well, he never jumps well though, so you know where it'll be, and there'll be plenty of tempo here.
Yep.
So, which is a big tick for him, I think. The 51 kilos, he's got to be levitating down there. But he might just have too many bums in front of him.
The question with him too, though, is they just haven't figured out what's his distance yet.
Yeah.
They're adamant, obviously, on keeping him to a sprint. I think it's more for the after racing career, but he just is that horse that hits the line, and you think, great, step him up. Oh, they're not stepping him up. That's all right. Hits the line again. Great, they'll step him up next start. Oh, they're not stepping him up, and you just wonder if he's just a beast within his cage that just wants the mile or further. So. Well, I shouldn't give you too much grief, mate. 'Cause,
Oh, no. Don't say it.
Oh, no.
whoa,
Right jockey on board to turn her around.
maybe so. I just can't be with Home Affairs on this sort of big field. I mean, he's probably going to get the favours. If he goes forward, as Lordy said, I like outside rail on a Flemington Straight as well. But there was a horse a year ago that was a Flemington specialist, which sucked everybody in.
Yep.
And every start since they've sucked this horse has sucked us in. It's called September Run.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you've done this.
I know.
Gee whiz.
But if you do look back over a year ago now, it was a blistering second to Nature Strip in the Lightning. Swats That came through that same race. The fact that Swats That ran a bit of a bold race last start, and September Run's first up. So there could be a little bit of saving it for this occasion sort of scenario here.
Bit of Chris
Jamie
Waller
Carr on
magic.
board. I mean, she could probably have a few options of another ride, put it that way. And at $27, I'm not going to look like an idiot that I have for the last year backing her at $2. So I can put the balls on the line a little bit more bravely.
You're finally getting a price for her.
Finally.
Yeah.
Much deserved.
She hasn't won since her Coolmore win.
No.
She hasn't.
So,
See, I think the roles might reverse here compared to that Coolmore run. I think Swats That will beat September Run home. You're not getting as good of a price, but I really liked that fourth that she ran first up in the Lightning. Wait for Age. Handicapper treats her a bit nicer here. Yeah, Swats That at that price. I don't mind. Not with either of those horses. though.
no. What about Zutori, last year's winner? Probably the weakest edition that we've seen for a long time.
Yeah.
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 He's
Didn't do
51.
too much in the Oakley Plate, did he?
No, I don't think so. $51 on offer. Yeah, no thanks. Unders. I'm a big fan of Lost of Running. I think he might be the new kid on the block. With that tippy top form, now Shelby 66 is in the picture.
That's right.
What is going on?
Oh, God
Unbelievable.
knows. Yeah, that was so bizarre to see
Well, it's
that.
sort of the Home Affairs form line is now out the window because Nature Strip got its pants pulled down last
Yeah,
week from the new kid on the block. You're
Eduardo
right,
did come
Shelby.
out and win that, though. So
No,
ran
we
third.
don't look at that. We don't look at that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
When there's only 4 in the race, someone's got to win.
Yeah, true. So it was such a bizarre thing to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
What is this thing coming on the inside?
Well, when I finally saw that 15 of my multis had died, when Nature Strip wasn't going to clearly win, I almost got up off the seat because it was flying. And I was like, this would just be such a good story if this horse can just put the head down. And another 10 metres, we probably would have had that result.
If it was Nature Strip
Crazy.
and Eduardo swapped around and it was Shelby coming after Nature Strip, I would have been
Oh.
wishing for a few other things. But the big strip was well and truly gone at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I admit Lost and Running creates a lot of interest. What are your boys' thoughts on horses that have never seen the straight? If they're a good horse, are you concerned at all? Do you think they'll run well regardless?
I think, against this quality field, because it does drop off quite significantly, and with the weight that he's got, I'm happy to take Lost and Running at the slightly better price than Home Affairs, who's proven down the straight.
Yeah, true.
I don't mind straight first time if they're a sort of a better 1,400 metre horse over the 1,200 metre straight. We saw it with Bermudez first time at the Flemington Straight on Saturday.
Which Lost and Running has that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think he's the one that'll start favourite. And
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I'm tossing up between him and Home Affairs. I've got a love affair with Home Affairs. Look, if Nature Strip was in this race and he was carrying 56 kegs, what price would he be?
Still be favourite,
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah, so I know Home Affairs is a Nature Strip, but geez, he's got some talent.
Could be just as good, if not better.
So I'm tossing up between those two.
It's
I
not
think
like you to sit on the fence.
Yes, unlike me to sit on the
I
fence.
think the obvious statement here as well is the GOAT himself comes down to stick with Home Affairs as well. You know, he's given up 2 Group 1 rides up in Sydney for probably a horse that he just knows has a bit of wow factor.
It's his 9th career start.
Yeah.
Home Affairs.
Yeah. Yeah, 3-year-old colt, so that's getting up there for him.
Yeah, true.
But good Huey at the moment. Huey's riding beautifully. He comes down to ride Lost and Running as well. So
Hubert.
yeah.
Cuban. What about Masked Crusader? He was pretty plain first up.
Top weight,
Yeah.
plain first up run, but gets the 1,200, which that's his goal, isn't it?
He's not one of mine.
No,
Is the straight his go though?
I don't think so. No,
That's the if. Yeah. That's I'm telling you, no.
no.
No, I'm telling you that too.
Well, he'll be right beside, Artorias will be over here and Masked Crusader will be over here, and they'll just be like the 2 bad boys at the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Back of the bus.
Well,
It'll be like
basically,
when the red dog and the pink dog both miss the kick, but they'll be charging.
so what I'm hearing is load up drifters, load up mugs, because Masked Crusader is a sure thing for this
Yep.
race if we're completely sacking him.
100%.
All right. So, in a word, around the room.
Artorias.
September run. It's 2 words,
Just in
sorry.
one word.
Home Affairs, because if I don't back him, I'll be very disappointed if he wins.
All right. Lost and Running for me. All righty. Australia Cup. Now, this is an interesting race. We have a camel in the race, which is unbelievable, trained by Peter Moody, and J-Mac jumps on, which is definitely no slouch. But you have the red-hot form from Sydney with Think It Over, and Cascadian has learned how to win on a good track, which is unbelievable. So, look, it falls away pretty quick after that. Then you have a very promising mare down the bottom in Jewess. Where did you boys land up here?
Yeah.
I'll kick us off, mate, because I'm a bit more confident about this race than I am the Newmarket. You're spot on, mate. Cascadian has just learnt how to win. And I'm on the big white-nosed Godolphin baby shark that used to goad us in every week as well. And look, stats don't really back it up there. I've just checked it, but I tend to find his Melbourne runs just seems to go a little
More
bit better.
genuine.
Yeah.
Loves Flemington.
Loves Flemington.
Loves a place at Flemington.
And it was always last prep they, adamant on the mile, getting him to a mile for grand final day, whereas he's been able to stretch out last start, win at the 1800, and probably was, one of the only horses that sort of toyed with him behind the speed and kicked off on that little bit of a leader's track. So I think the 2000 is wheelhouse sort of zone for this horse as well. I know he does hold an all-star mile nom, so it'd be interesting to see if they take him back to the mile after this start. But, I mean, if he wins impressively, you probably don't even worry about that fantastic race at Flemington in a few weeks after, do you? So I'm on the Blue Army here.
Yeah. Well, if you look at his last run from last prep, he's probably got the best form in the race. Well,
It's that simple, really, isn't it?
a length behind Zaki in the McKinnon, over the same
Well, that's
distance at Flemington. It's pretty damn good form. Lloydie, where do you go, mate?
I think James's brother can be knocking him off in Mr. Edward Cummings with Jewess. You mentioned very promising mare, mate. And I agree. She's been pretty kind to me over her short career, but 16 starts, 5 wins, 5 minor placings, and two of those wins have been over the 2,000 metres. I think she won the Adrian Knox as a 3-year-old 12 months ago, and then maybe a Coongie over a 2,000 over the spring. So, look, that form's pretty good. She gets to Flemington for the first time, but big track she's going to love. Dry track she'll love. Drawn well in barrier 8. Josh Parr, 57 kilos. I reckon she's a great bet. And I'm on at $21, just quietly.
Toot. And she ran out of her skin last time. In the
Well, that's it.
Yeah, she ran really great.
First up,
Yeah.
she was back on the fence, had to come out to the outside and nearly cleaned them up. So,
Yeah.
great bet.
Yeah. Declan?
I think it over is close to my best of the day.
Yeah.
Only concern for me is he's never raced on Flemington, but I think complete forgive job. Last start on the heavy deck, gets a dry deck here, 2,000 metres, bang. I'll take the price.
I think I'm with you. I think he's awfully hard to beat. Only thing is, I don't think he's been this way of going in his career.
That's the question.
Yeah,
mark.
that's the question mark.
Yeah. What do you think about Bray saying that Spanish Mission is an absolute moral to run top 2?
Well, he obviously didn't think it over, or Jewis would accept. But I mean, it was a good run the other day, first up. But you got a horse mixing form with Stradivarius over 4,000 metres in the UK. Comes out, runs well in the Melbourne Cup, then stinks it up as a $1.30 pop in the weakest zipping classic you'll ever see. What do you do with it over 2,000?
2,000 metres,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like I know.
This would be a barrier trial
Well,
in the UK, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tancred, 2,400.
got to be its go,
Way for age. Yeah.
And you have no idea about the Earlswood form because that horse has been spelled.
Yeah,
So it's like-
can you say that the Earlswood form is that great? Call sign Mav was pretty plain in a Cox Plate.
yeah.
Good in that race, but beat him home.
To be fair, I think Call Sign Mav's a bit more of a miler, even though he is in this race here. So I think it is between the first 3 in the numbers, and then of course Jewis. I think they're your first 4. Maximal will be interesting.
Yeah.
Johnny O'Shea said he got it wrong putting the blinkers on last start, so could improve. All right, the only Group 1 in Sydney this weekend is the Coolmore Classic. This is a cracking race. I think Crone won this last year. Yeah. At a pretty similar price, I believe.
Queensland form, baby. We're going to keep those sponsors happy. Tony Golden, so yeah, give him a shout out. G'day, Tony.
Absolutely. Espiona's the favourite here at about $4. Are you keen to take her on or have her on side?
Keen to take her on every single start of
Well,
her career.
Is it the
I love the
Espiona fan
boldness.
club versus the Fangirl fan club again? Because-
Fangirl's out.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great news.
she's in the
Is she on in the far lap? Or?
yeah, she's in the far lap. She will jump favourite there easily.
Right.
So Hinged and Espiona stay in the Coolmore.
Kiku scratched.
Yep.
And Kiku and Fango are only scratchings at this stage. We are recording
Lelude, I
early.
believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Lelude as well.
Oh, yeah.
Do you wonder what that phone call from Chris Waller is to his owners
To the
to
connections,
say,
yeah.
we're not going to race in a $500,000 Group 1 this weekend. We're going to go to a little 100K Group 3 or whatever it is. And what do you reckon about that? Doesn't matter what you reckon about that because I'm Chris Waller. What do? You just...
Well, it's funny, knowing Waller, he's probably going to get the trifecta in both of these races,
right.
so he doesn't really care either way.
care.
But yeah, as an owner, what would you say?
Yeah, I think he goes, look, I think Espiona's a pretty good thing. So I want to separate it so both of you can have a piece of this cake.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's right, he does get it right a fair amount.
Probably
Credit
more
to
than
him.
not, I would argue.
What deck are we going to be playing on in Sydney? Because I know it's obviously very, very, very wet right now, but if you look at the forecast, it starts to dry out for the next couple of days. Soft 6 off 7, or do you reckon we're just going to be playing on a heavy?
Rosehill.
Yeah.
Heavy.
It's a bog, Rosehill, isn't
Bog.
it? Like,
Doesn't drain. Dip your finger in there. That's what it's really like.
And we've seen a leader bias there
We have.
pretty much throughout the entire autumn. Is that going to affect your punt on this race?
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm going bog track and mad leader, and one fits that criteria named expat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't really need to add too much more. I think you're spot on there, Jonesy. I think it's going to be a leaderish. I reckon Rosehill plays a bit more that way anyway.
Yeah.
Just because of the Randwick has a bit more space, a bit of a longer straight. No one fact check this just in case it's completely wrong. But if you just sit there and watch Rosehill all day, you see the horses that put themselves there. They're usually figuring in the finish. So it's flying, this thing.
Yeah.
Good on a heavy, 3 from 4, which is a big tick. And if it just gets those cheap sectionals that the analysts love pointing out when they're after the race and they've already won, it just could be a catch me if you can scenario. So, yeah,
It's
on big time.
beat home Bellucci Babe last start. Bellucci Babe won on the weekend. So form has been franked.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the third horse in that last race come out and won as well.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
With you, mate. Well, admittedly, I was with Kiku. I did give her a huge chance. She goes around in the Ajax earlier on in the day. Obviously, Star Thoroughbred splitting there too. But I had Expat in for second, so she naturally gets promoted to the winner of the race. But yeah, was pretty much summed everything up. 4 from 6 at Rosehill, 4 from 5 on a heavy. She was a Group 3 winner over a mile. All that form just stacks up from last start. Barrier 10, slight query for a horse that wants to go forward, and there is more pressure with Vangelik, Shout the Bar and co.
Yeah, there is.
But I think she doesn't necessarily have to lead. She can probably just take a seat behind Gay's pair and be winning her first Group 1.
Yeah.
And this is a low-key cracker of a race.
Great
isn't it?
race.
Yep.
Great race. Yeah. I'm with you, Moz. That's what I was looking at. I'm a big fan of Espiona, but I'm just looking at the race and how Rosehill's been played, and I don't think I can be with her in this particular race. I don't know what her distance is, Espiona. I guess we had to find out. Look, she's shown me this prep that she's a good horse. Is she good enough to win this? I'm not sure.
I reckon this is that prep as well, isn't it? Let's figure her out, and then come the spring,
Unleash.
let's
Yeah.
go bang, bang, bang.
She could be a spring mare too.
Yeah.
Could very well be. Who knows? I don't.
She's an interesting. She's an interesting one. Hey, like I was keen. I've been keen to Potter all along. Like I've pretty much left her out of my top 4 in both runs. This prep said false favourite.
Yeah.
all the way through. Admittedly, she nearly pulled my pants down both times, but her runs still haven't been bad.
Yeah, no, you are right. And
Her 2 wins last prep, she didn't beat anything, and then I was like, she's going to be short wherever she goes. But why? $3.40 favourite in a Coolmore, 5th start, only won 2 average races.
Yeah, and from memory, favourites have a pretty shitty record in this race. But look, I look like an absolute dickhead because I said to Hutch before she started her prep, I was like, she'll win everything she's in. She'll win absolutely everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My wallet's also speaking that too, but yeah. What do you reckon, Hutch?
I'm going for something slightly different. I think Forbidden Love is flying, and a horse that has form around Forbidden Love and Snap Dancer, who is flying, is promise of success for Johnny O'Shea. So I am hoping they run on here. Rachel King, 51 kilos, third up here, absolutely swims. I think this horse is in with a great shout. I was beaten 3 lengths by Forbidden Love, but was only getting going real late.
Huge run.
Yeah. I think the other horse, which is a big price considering how strong she was last start, was Hinged for Waller.
Yeah.
Like, she pulled Espiona's pants down, and if it is a genuinely heavy track again, she gets through it.
Well, she's been there, done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
It's
can't
almost
see
the obvious, isn't it?
I can't see an extra 100 metres Espiona really getting past Hinge. Like I was on Star Tontes that day and it looked like she was going to win by 3.
Yeah.
And
close.
Hinge kept fighting.
Yeah.
So I just think that extra 100, her best form up here in Queensland's been over a bit further. 1,500 bog track. Oof.
And she sits on pace too,
Yep.
which you always like to see. So fingers crossed with promising success, but we'll see. All right, so other races outside of this weekend. Let's jump to the Galaxy, lads. So
So you're going to say Eagle Farm for a second. Let's stay well clear. Leave the optimism until Saturday.
the Galaxy, so I believe it's an 1,100 metre Group 1 at Rosehill in a week or so's time. You have Isotope, that Queensland form coming to the fore.
Queensland's princess, isn't she?
Oof, don't get me started on that girl.
Then you have Marzu, who's just the ultimate gear change has turned him almost into the ultimate horse.
Mate, he's flying. He's literally lost a big pair of bloody boulders on the back and he's just absolutely flying.
He is. In the Congo, geez, I don't know. Marabi's not going this way. Pulele probably will, I'd imagine, now that he missed the Oakley Plate. I love it when Godolphin does that. Yeah. And then you have Overpass, Big Parade, Malkovich, away game. Any thoughts here? It's a bit of a toughie.
It's just trying to pick the final field here is a bet in itself, isn't it? Because, well, this is the obvious lead in to sort of the TJ. We're talking championships, but that's still a good month away, isn't it? Yeah. Isotope's probably a question mark too because they've protected her up here on a heavy deck. So if this continues weather-wise, $3.50 all in at the moment. Oh, Lordy, you sniffing that up?
I actually spoke to Tony Gollan this morning.
Oh, did you?
I did.
What did he say?
Well,
Name dropping.
Far out. There's more on the floor here if you want to pick some up. Can't believe he answered the call.
Yeah, I know. No, rang me back. He rang me. At the moment, got to try and work out how to get to Sydney. That's the first obstacle.
Yeah,
just with floods, obviously, in that area. But working it out. But she'll be heading there. That's the plan. So had a jump out this morning at Doomben. Went well by all reports. So if you like her, might not be the worst thing. She'll be there. That's the thing. Whether or not she'll swim, we don't know.
No.
But yeah, tough all-in market to want to play into early, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think from what we've seen and just listening to the trainer, I think Overpass at $8, good win in the English Sprint the other day. Bjorn mentioned a possible Everest slot if he can win the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Proven at Rosehill, beat Enemo and Forbidden Love. Forbidden Love's come out, won a Group 1. Enemo, we know how good he is. But yeah.
Is he?
Thank you, Moz.
Well,
I've been saying that
Is he?
for about
but
6 months.
even if he's not the next Winks, he's still
He's the next Osborne Bulls. That's what he is.
but he's won
he is.
2 Group 1s. He's run second
I just love firing you up.
in 2 or 3 Group 1s.
Just getting the passion out of you, mate.
Schnick. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you're Mo's biggest
Oh,
fan.
mate, I'm a big fan of mine. It's like, don't ever say that again, Moz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any strong opinions on this race as of yet. If Isotope runs, I've pretty much got to be with her. But both Hutch and I have liked Marzu so far this prep.
Yeah.
He's run good times too.
Yeah. He's been dominating. Just looking down the market here, Bella Nipotina at $26. If she's heading there, it looks a nice play. And also the Inferno at $26. Now, obviously, the query on him is he gets so far back. He gets further back than
Party Bus.
Crusader, and Artorias. And I think a soft track might be a bit of a query too. So, but not really a race I'm keen to play in at this stage.
Shelby 66, $17.
That's the other thing. Well, if it's wet, if it's heavy, 1,100 metres.
It goes around again on Saturday, actually.
It's 4 in a row.
4 in a row.
I guess Marzu's ticked the boxes though.
Yeah.
If it's a heavy track,
He's the here and now, isn't he?
He just, and this is almost the sneaker Group 1 race, isn't it? This one because you have a lot of horses onto the TJ or bigger and
The
better
only
things
thing though
after
with
this.
that race, I could be wrong. The Arrowfield Sprint, is that after? It is, sorry. So it's day 2 of the championship. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Marzu's $4 favourite there, but that's still 2 or 3 weeks after.
He's always had the talent, Marzu. Early days, he used to be a back marker, fly home, had the flashing light on him, and then he just had a terrible prep, gelded him, came back, and he's so consistent now. So I think he's, if you're looking for those on paces, well, sprinter doesn't really matter, but, he gets through the going. Anyway, we spent too much time on this race. All right, Rosehill Guineas, here we go. Now, this will be fun. So you have Animo, a.k.a. Osborne Bulls 2.0, $2.50 favourite. Converge, who knocked him off. Profondo, who's now $7, yum. Forgot You, Hitotsu's probably not going here. And then Halal Allegron, Captivant probably drops away after there. So, Lloydie?
Look, I don't know if Converge will be there. Hitotsu won't be there. Enemo's $2 now. He probably starts $1.50 if they keep dropping out of it. What do you do with Profondo? I'm his biggest fan.
You
but
back him.
You back him. yeah. You,
Complete forgive on the weekend.
yeah, I think you've got to. But
Maybe Sydney Horse.
yeah, I think so. But they wanted to dodge the heavy track on Saturday. If they get the heavy track in a fortnight, what do you do? I'm going to throw up one at a little bit of value. I'm
Please
just
do.
trying to find it in the market. Hey, Commander Harry's in there at 51, so. But not him. $51 as well. Raging Bull for David Payne. Ran sixth in the Randwick Guineas on Saturday. Sat outside the leader. Dropped out of it and looked like he was going to finish a mile back, and then sort of found a little bit late and actually got past Military Expert, who did lead. In the spring, ran fourth to Hitotsu in the Vic Derby, so has ability. Getting out over a trip now and seem to get through the going. So, look, $51, 14 the place, probably not a bad little 1x3 spec, because I'd imagine it'll be going there with the Derby. Its main aim this prep.
No, nice one. What's that?
Yeah, well, look, if the 4 or 5 horses you named at the start there just had a race between themselves, it'd be an absolute cracker, wouldn't it?
Yeah, God, yeah.
I mean,
It's what the Guineas should have been on the weekend.
well, realistically.
Why are there two Guineas on the same day? But
Makes no sense.
Oh, well, how long do we have on this podcast? But
Can of worms.
well, this almost turns into a Guineas grand final. It's just whether that both of them come together and actually run here, which doesn't happen because there's 45 other races that they
Yeah.
can all go to.
and it's the same day as the All-Star Mile, which Racing Vic just gave 3 wildcards to 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
it takes away.
Yeah.
It's a
Shots
big
fired.
sort of
Well,
Probably
big
one of the
FU
first
to-
shots that they've actually fired
Yeah.
back.
They
to
finally conjured up a response to PVL's big package.
Yeah.
Let's keep
Finally
it
got the
out of
guts.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hitotsu to the mile, you reckon?
Well, they
it,
accepted
have
the
they?
wild card spot.
Yeah, right.
Pinstriped and lightsaber.
Which when you get a horse like Lightsaber getting a spot, you think that they're pretty keen to leave the Sydney siders out. Don't you?
Makes Spanish Mission look like a racehorse.
Well, look, Converge was on top for me, but I don't know where does he go?
Well, the main aim's the Doncaster.
Yeah.
So
Great Doncaster
They basically have to, 100%. They just have to decide. They were talking during the week that whether they go 2,000 back to the mile or if they go to the George Ryder on the same day. So hard to know.
They get you these all-in markets, don't they? But
do.
it almost comes down to Animo just might be the default.
Yeah.
And we're all on at $1.30, and we know what we're going to get. Last on the turn, storming home for the
Yep.
best second for Osborne Bulls 2.0.
Watch me get sucked into that black hole over and over and
But
over.
look, well,
and
that's
over.
it's almost the form race, isn't it? And they streeted Halal in third, who was battling there at the mile. Like, unless Profondo is truly a Sydney horse that is a bit of a mudlark that they just haven't discovered yet.
Yeah.
You just wonder what else is going to be there.
So lightly raced, it is a bit
Yeah.
of a risk. But yeah, like you've said, Archie, could be absolutely anything Profondo. And I think the weekend run was a forgive for mine.
I think there was a couple of things at play. I don't usually do this. I used to in the past, but I've given it away recently. But what I did here during the week was the Blamey versus the Guineas head-to-head. I think if you go to the 800-metre mark, I think, or might have been entering the straight. Either way, one of the two, the Guineas was 35 lengths ahead of the Blamey. So they were running
They went nuts.
hectic time out in front. Profondo was 3 or 4 wide without cover. Absolute forgive job.
Up on the speed as well.
Trialled the same week, flew to Melbourne, absolute afterthought. Thought he could overcome it, but he couldn't. So he's my logical starting point. Forgot You is having a fantastic prep too.
Yeah.
I think out to the 2,000 will be cherry ripe. If he goes here, the $10 looks very good for him too.
Yep.
Happy to play around those two.
fair.
Okay. The next one. Oh, here we go. The Golden Slipper. I need some help here. So, Coolangatta and Sajardin are our favourites. You have one that hasn't raced since that brilliant Queensland win, I guess you could call it, in the Magic Millions.
Magical. Monumental.
Isotope wins on the same day.
Oh, best day ever, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then Sajardin, who's probably been, to be fair, outside of Coolangatta, the most recent, consistent 2-year-old, I guess you could say. And then Russian Conquest, who ran second to Coolangatta, is the next in the market, and he failed on the weekend. So it's bloody tough. It's bloody tough. I'm keen to find something at longer odds. I'm keen to see what you boys have found.
I think, I think Sajada, based off his win in the Todman, really stamped himself as the one to beat. I know Coolangatta, her ceiling is, where? We don't know. It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
But 2 months between runs, going into a golden slipper on a potentially heavy track, which they've looked like they wanted to dodge. Big query. So, look, Sajada goes on top for me, but I like throwing a little bit of a...
We've noticed this about you, Lloydie, which we like.
Yeah, can't eat value, but you sure can drink it when you have a fill up. But look, Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott, they're very good with their 2-year-olds. And one of theirs that caught my eye early on was Rise of the Masses. One that's maiden at Kembla Grange on a heavy 10. And then its last 2 runs, I think it was might have been in the Silver Slipper and one of the other, the Skyline or something like that. Ran second and third or third and second, but rolls along on the speed, makes his own luck, won on a heavy, and he just seems like a tough horse. He'll get into a grind and a bit of a grudge match and he'll keep kicking. He is in on Saturday in the whatever 2-year-old race for the Colts and Goldings it is, so I think he'll have to win to get a spot in the field, or at least get a bit of more place prize money to really cement it. But look, Rise to the Masses, 51 and 14, it's not a bad little spec, I don't think, if he can get in the field.
And the way these markets work, you're better off having a bet on him for the slipper now, because if he comes out and wins, he'll be third favourite.
That's it.
Yep.
He'll be
yeah.
And I think he's
second
favourite.
favourite in every futures race in the sprint too.
That's it. He'll be an Everest chance. He'll be a Coolmore chance. Yeah. But I think he's $5 on Saturday in the race behind Magic. So
yeah, nice. Wozza?
Well, Coolangatta, I think, is it's either the master stroke or they are freaking out right now. But Mara and Eustace, they usually, again, get it right.
We saw with Hitotsu, first one to ever do it.
You've got to doubt them.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
That's right. It just almost is pick the trainer and go for it. So I even remember, in hindsight, it's always a great thing, but they've sort of come out and said she was below her best Magic Millions Day, and she's put away Russian Conquest, who's third in that market, and ultimately, got rolled on the weekend, much to everyone's dismay. Regardless of politics in the world at the moment, some people are all over it. But that's the top 3 form line in the market. One that I'll throw at some odds as well.
Please do.
I need to get amongst it. There's a horse, I don't know if it's going there, but it's 100-1. I'm loving ya.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you reckon it's going there?
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard. Well, maybe you're the journalist here, mate. You can find that out for us. But I was actually keen on this horse going into the Blue Diamond, which has been run and won since then. They actually went to a listed race instead. It just was one of those ones that hitting the 1200 was really going to reach its straps. Kent Jr., Mick Price. So good stable. But more or less whether that was a bit more of a prolonged attack to bank some money to be able to do the Sydney trip and do it. It's not in any nominations this weekend. So 100-1, you could be making a nice generous donation, or maybe it comes out next week at a bit of a lead-up run and
maybe that's the
does
sort
some
of
magic. So
wait a couple of days and have a final field bet, because you probably get the same price.
What about the
wait for me to
Queensland
move
thing?
the market.
Best of Bordeaux, boys. Queensland horse for Casey Fogden.
I haven't claimed it yet.
Do you think the 1200 is a bit of a stretch too far for this horse? Seems to be tiring out when it gets to the end of its last couple of races,
Form lines, time's been good, but has that form really sort of stacked up?
Could do a Kiyomichi. Kiyomichi did a similar thing a few years ago.
That's true.
Addition.
Is there anything you want out of the Diamond, out of that top 3 from the Diamond? Jackie No, Dormier,
I just
what
want
was the
the
other
Diamond
thing?
to be run again so Revolutionary Miss can win.
Quite
frankly.
And that's not a lot of diamond form really goes up to the slipper, does it? It's whether it's they just got no ambition or they just protect the 2-year-olds.
Yeah, very true. Very
Or
true.
just about 3 or 4 lengths slower.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, look, the 2-year-old's crop has been subpar. Coolangatta, its first run was like a higher rated run than what any of these things have done, right? So if it runs to that peak, Coolangatta, first up out of 2 months, maybe on a heavy deck, whew, that's a lot. Yep. So Jarden, I think if Magic storms home this weekend, it'll half the price at least.
Full brother to Yearning.
Yes.
As well. So.
Yeah.
I think they've said it's a size horse or
Right,
the 1400 or the Champagne, whatever.
Right, there you go,
one of those two. But hey, they could. It's a 2-year-old. They may as well chuck it in.
That's it.
Why not?
And Hawks won't tell you until
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether it wins or loses, they'll go, yep, it was a slipper horse from day one, or it's it's a Champagne horse since day one. That's why it ran 10th today.
Yeah.
Going backwards, but it was running on.
Yeah, I'll do this again when it's our time to do the Golden Slipper preview on the drift. But I look back at basically the last decade of Group 1s just to see if there's any pattern. In the 2-year-olds, I think it was basically, it might have only been Piero who basically wasn't on speed and won the race. So I always think Sir Jarden's a massive risk for me. He has been great and he's looked very, very professional. But I'm keen to take on Coolangatta as well because when you get to the really tippy top of the 2-year-old features, Myron Eustace don't feature. They've done really well in the Magic Millions, but when it gets to the big boy stuff, it's always the Snowdens, it's always the Hawks stable. And
Stallion making trainers.
yes, absolutely. I was looking through this market, and of course, I have to say something about Lady Laguna. Maybe she just had a bad day, for
Could bounce back.
animation. She could. So $31. I think we were giving her a huge push at 15. So you're getting double your money now. But another filly who failed that day, and if it is a good track, Extravagant Star at $51. She absolutely dominated first up. $51 now.
Yeah.
You're basically hoping it's a good track because I don't think she got through the heavy.
No.
And that's generally the knock on Coolangatta, I guess, as well, is that Magic Millions, that was Inglis Millennium, like that sort of form doesn't really stack up at the top end. But why doesn't it?
races.
Like,
Castelvecchio won it a few years ago.
it's the best horse of that day.
Yeah.
There's form lines through and through, so yeah, you're not far off.
One thing I've noticed with the slipper, and Hutch, you probably would have seen it as well going through, quite a few of the winners will be horses that have been dominant, fallen off and lost a race, and then they come back and bounce back. I can remember Capitalist lost his lead.
remember that one.
Stay Inside did it last year.
Stay Inside did it. Esther Jab, she lost hers. There was might have been Sebring or Sepoy, one of them lost their last lead-up race, come back and won. Happens all the time, and I just think that's sort of why I keep looking at Sir Jarden. I just go, he won those first 2 starts, got beat in the Millennium where he was caught wide, then comes back and wins. So I just think he was, they have that little moment where they're forgotten, they get out in the market, and then you go, oh, obviously. Yeah.
Of the Blue Diamond, Sebenak is the one if they head there.
Yep.
Not sure. I thought he was brilliant running into the 4th at his second start. There's pretty damn good. All right, last one here, lads. The much maligned All-Star Mile.
The best to last.
I reckon we might even get a new field by the time this is run. A lot have dropped away here, but you have Zaki, an Inspirational Girl, and then Pinstriped is right up there as well. I'm Thunderstruck at $9. Hitotsu's been given a wild card, but will he go there? What do you reckon, Lloydie?
Should we just rant and go on tangents about why this race is not going to be successful, how they've done it? And I know a few Pinstripe listeners will be absolutely ripping their hair out just listening to that name.
To their credit, they make changes each year. Now,
but do you find, see, this is what I loved about it, and I'm sort of off it now, is that it was very much it's a public race. You vote who you want in. It doesn't matter if they're a Group 1. If you're prepared to run last, knowing that you're outclassed, well, that's the risk of entering the race. Which the first year we saw that, we had a couple of the top liners and then the battlers get in. And they seem to have taken away that sort of concept year by year. I know this year it was you have to have had a base rating, I think, of 80. You had to win, had criteria. So obviously they want to make it a stronger edition, but when you sort of take the people's race away from the people.
They want us to
sort of not
decide,
treated.
but no, you can't have it, or you can't have it.
Yeah,
you
right.
can have this, but they don't want to go there. And
Yep.
So it's like, well, okay, how about you just pick the 15 horses that you want?
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like that's what they want to do, but
Yeah.
they can't come out and say that yet. So.
Yeah. Well, last year for me, it was like I don't think the winner was the story. I think it was Behemoth running an absolute cracker into third. Then you had the Harrovian, obviously,
Yep.
running an absolute huge race in the top 5, I think.
Yep.
And then you had Streets of Avalon, who doesn't go a yard on a heavy, and then he rounds top 6. Unbelievable. Prob Bill was the favourite. Mate, this race with Prob Bill in it would be a
100%.
cracker.
Yep. You get rid of lightsaber and you put, and you put in. I'll die.
Put your
on that hill.
lightsaber away.
Oh,
And you put in probably
Sheath it.
elements. Yeah.
yeah. So I think they've had a bit of an unlucky shot at it, but I feel like there is a responsibility on the trainers as well. It's like I get that they need to nominate for the race, like for Very Elegant and Espiona. There was no chance they were going to run.
No way.
No.
We had
Absolutely
this
not.
sort of conversation in a group chat the other day, and I said the way that they could fix it is that the voting, rather than being open so early and closed so early, you push it back so
Yeah.
that voting might have closed, last weekend, and by then trainers will go,
Yeah.
okay, well, Very Elegant, Espiona, they're not going to be there, so people still have the chance to vote for different horses.
So
that's
fair. Such a fair
Got to
shout.
be.
I think Greg Carpenter's already said that. Basically, that's pretty much locked in for next year.
Cool.
The voting's going to get pushed back. So, yeah, it suffered this year, but I think it will still be a decent race.
Yeah, and I think Zaki wins easy.
Yeah. I think that's what I wanted to discuss because I think this would be a very, very short selections
Yeah.
at the end. Well,
Yeah.
Zaki by 15 lengths, we'll say, because I think I'm Thunderstruck's a little bit of the unknown factor as
Yeah.
well. So I think this boy's,
He had way too many burgers.
but it's versus Zaki, who,
Pillow
I
diet.
mean, I'll let Lloydie round out the next 4 hours with his Zaki chat, but like,
Love affair.
simple as that.
It's dangerous.
He would have won the Cox
Yeah.
plate by about 3 lengths, I reckon, Zaki.
Oh,
Don't mention it.
don't go there.
Especially not around Bean.
Hey, Bean. That'll push him
You
over
wanna
the
know-
edge.
You know a great story. So I work on a Saturday morning, right? So I'm driving to work, going to the gym. Phone's lighting up like 4th of July. I'm thinking, what's going on here? Picked up my phone. I'm getting all the tweets. Zaki scratched,
shit,
Zaki
yeah.
scratched. So I've stopped at the red light. I've lifted it up to go, this can't be right. What's going on here? I look up, police car right next to me,
Oh,
having
no.
a stare. So I've gotten pulled over and he's like, mate, was it that important on your phone? I'm thinking, well, yes, it was absolutely important because my whole day is ruined now. So, and I can't even afford the fine that you're going to give me because all my futures are dead. But
Do you know what
was-
day it is? Do you know
I
what
just
day
felt
it
like
is?
saying, look, Zaki's been scratched from the Cox plate. He probably would have gone, mate, just go home. Stay home.
That's my futures ticket ruined too.
Oh, boys. So what we've learnt from this conversation is that how good is it punting in futures?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Very good.
Yeah. Pays
no-
off sometimes
There's
with
no
VE.
thrill. There's no thrill like it, really.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't.
No. Can we get Zaki beaten? Like, what's the... Because Inspirational Girl was very good against him last weekend.
Massive pull in the weights.
Massive pull in the
6
weights.
kilos back to weight for age, only 2. Zaki first up against her, second up.
And he was-
She won't know
yeah.
what way Zaki's gone.
Yeah, and he was prepped for a 1,300 metre race.
Yes.
It was a dawdle along for a while, then a sit and sprint. He just wants
I
to go
think
out
you
front
said
and
it's
just kick.
35 lengths slower
Than the
and
Guineas,
he's
yeah.
bottled up in behind him.
There'll be pace here.
Yep.
And it will suit I'm Thunderstruck as well. I
True.
think he's into it, up to it, into his eyeballs, his baldy face. We will be
He
hitting
is.
the line.
Well, he's just going to take the next step now against the older horses. That's his. You can bully your own age for as long as you can. But he's got some spruik.
He does.
We love a bit of spruik, especially
this-
from that stable.
The stable have always said, though, this is the grand final. So wait till he's here for grand final day. And then I think even if he wins this, they'll take him to the Doncaster as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do with a horse like Hitotsu, who we've just seen win the Australian Guineas? We've seen Mystic Journey do the double in the past. Luna Fox, I think, ran 4th in the All-Star Mile last year after winning the Guineas. He's better than both of them. What do we do there?
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
It's a great point.
Well, what's the long term goal for him?
Well,
Derby, Aussie Derby,
Has to be.
yeah. Queen Elizabeth.
Mate, Kieran Maher's talking bloody Melbourne Cup with him in the spring. It's
Well,
like,
there you go.
apparently his blood work is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like with all that sort of bullshit that they go through.
Sports science.
Yeah. So, look, if he's racing, he's a special colt. Like, I think he'll be running top 3 wherever he runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Probably looking a bit more forward to this race now, to be honest. This is good.
Yeah.
Well, we got the trifecta down pat. That's pretty
Yeah.
much it. Can you do that for a futures bet?
Sure.
Futures trifecta?
They used to do Futures Cornellas. I remember that. Like Melbourne Cup, it was like fixed price Cornellas.
Yeah.
Like a month out. They were the best. You'd get like...
The bookies would have been absolutely whacked.
Yeah.
And lost a fortune.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they would have done all right. They like the
No
old,
sarcasm from me.
No,
whatsoever.
it's like you walk
Same
into
old
your
fellas.
local TAB or Melbourne Cup and you buy $300 worth of $3 mystery trifectas, and you've got the 2 bolters in every single one.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
just think, oh,
There's something dodgy
this
here.
is my year. This is my year.
Brilliant. Well, I think we've got one penciled in for the April futures as well. We'll do that in a couple of
Championships
weeks.
fever.
Yeah.
That'll be
Bang.
exciting.
Yeah.
They'll be a bit more exciting, I think. These are, there's a couple of good races in here, but
Rosehill.
yeah,
Get us back to Randwick quick.
yeah, that's it.
And
But
some
thank-
sunshine too,
Mate,
mind you.
fingers
Oh, gee
crossed.
whiz.
Fingers crossed. I'm glad we've got a bit at Flemington at the moment because
Feels-
Caulfield and I have an strained relationship.
I love
true.
Flemington.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Nothing
almost
better.
as good as Callaghan Park at Rockhampton.
Well, boys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, you mugs.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you very much.
No dramas. We'll do it all again in a couple of weeks.
Look forward to it.
Beauty.
It's always
Can't
good
wait.
fun.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers.